Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched Toy Story 4, the latest animation from Pixar Disney, which surely doesn't need an introduction. And I would admit, when they announced that they were making this film, I fell into the camp of people that thought, was another film really necessary? I mean, Men in Black International, anyone? But then I thought, no, this is Pixar. I mean, worst case scenario, it's going to be a really fun film, kind of in the same way as their Toy Story shorts, like Toy Story of Terror and Toy Story That Time Forgot. Both really fun little animations, but not a patch on the original trilogy. And this one surely isn't going to reach the emotional heights of the original trilogy. Is it? So this one picks up with the gang, now with Bonnie, their new owner, who is just starting play school, where she literally makes herself a new friend called Forky, who then gets lost when Bonnie's family go on a road trip holiday, so Woody does what Woody does best. He goes out to save him, meeting a bunch of characters, some old, some new, along the way. So on the surface of things, yeah, this is another Toy Story movie. I mean, it's doing exactly the same things as the other ones. The toys get lost, they have to get back to their owner, but amazingly and wonderfully it still feels really fresh and exciting. And I will say that the world feels much more expansive in this one. There's a whole new world for our toys to explore in this. I will say that it does start off in a familiar place, which was like a warm blanket of nostalgia for me, wrapped up in some of the best CGI rendering I've ever seen. It's jaw-droppingly brilliant and beautiful. And then we meet Forky, the first of many new characters, and I instantly fell in love with him. Because he's made of trash, he thinks he belongs with the trash. He doesn't know he is a toy, which is very reminiscent of a certain Space Ranger from Toy Story 1. But this time, Woody is like a father figure to him, telling him what it means to be a toy. There are a lot of familiar beats to it with a slightly different spin and under slightly different circumstances, like the new villain, for example, basically has the same story arc as Stinky Pete from Toy Story 2, although I will say that this particular character's arc has a much more fulfilling and satisfying end to it. Pixar at its best. Let's talk about the new characters for a second, because there are a bunch and they all steal the show. Key and Peele are so funny as carnival soft toys Ducky and Bunny, with active imaginations and cutaway gags, which the trailers only just touch upon. And then you've got Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom, a Canadian Evel Knievel type toy, which has his own tragic but hilarious backstory based on the type of toy that he is, which was never as good as a toy that we as kids wanted it to be. It's so funny and he's so good. They even managed to work in one of Keanu Reeves' catchphrases in the mid-credits. Definitely stay around for it. I was literally laughing out loud. The humour in the film is so good because it's so good-natured, proper, clean family fun, be it the verbal or the visual gags. I've already mentioned how stunning the rendering is, but I've got to give a shout out to the animators. For example, Forky is just a spork, but the way that they've managed to animate him, it's so hilarious. He's got the same sort of constraints that the army toys had in the other Toy Story films, where they can't move because their feet are pinned to boards. Forky's just the same. He kind of walks around like this and keeps falling over. I love the little touch of his pipe cleaning arms, like it kept slipping down. That was such a lovely touch. There's also another character called Gabby, which is this 1950s doll. When you watch it either for the first time or a second time, keep a look at her eyes, which have a slight wobble like those types of dolls tend to have, which really heighten that sense of hyper-real and that uncanny feeling, which is actually something I based my dissertation on at university. Yeah, I did my dissertation on Toy Story, I had to. It's through Gabby and her ventriloquist dummy bodyguards where the horror elements come in, which is present in all of the other Toy Story films. Like, if I was writing my dissertation today, I would definitely be including Gabby and them in it as well. So in short, the film has all of the ingredients that made the Andy trilogy Toy Story films so great. The only question was, can it reach the same level of poignancy as the original trilogy? And for me, it absolutely did. I think if the original trilogy was about the toys fulfilling their purpose, their duty as toys, this one does take it to the next step and sees them questioning beyond that, their own existence, actually listening to their own inner voices for a change. So that's my thoughts on Toy Story 4, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. The only disappointing thing that I can think of in this film is maybe there is a cat that pops up at one point which maybe isn't modelled and rendered to as high quality as some other CG animals that we've seen, but maybe that's a callback to Sid's dog from the original one, which didn't really look that right, but was still like mind-boggling at the time. The only other disappointing thing is that I learnt that there is an end credit scene, and I didn't know there was, so I didn't stay for it, and I found out on Twitter that there was, so I guess the only solution is for me to go back and see it again. What do you reckon, guys? Should I go back? Yeah, let's go. Yeah, Buzz. So let me know where Toy Story 4 ranks amongst the other Toy Story films in your opinion. For me, I think it's on par, maybe even better than Toy Story 2. Toy Story 1 will always have a special place in my heart because it was the first of them all, and Toy Story 3 just broke my heart. But let me know what you think, and as always, thanks very much for watching this review. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give it a like, and don't forget to share the Lave. Subscribe.